Today we are going to make 3 easy beginner projects using the Loklik iCraft and the Idea Studio software. We're going to walk through everything you need to know about the software so that you can start creating with confidence. This machine right here, the Loklik iCraft, is a new smart cutting machine. I have a full review that talks about what this can do and how it might fit into your craft room. Today, we're going to look a little deeper into the software and go through all the functions while creating 3 beginner projects. I have their software installed on my computer, so let's head over there and take a look. This is the Loklik Idea Studio. This is their software that is going to power the Loklik iCraft. So when you open it up, you come to this homepage and it's going to have some type of seasonal imagery on it, all kinds of different projects and things you can make. Up on the top here, there's a couple things that you notice. We're in the library right now. We're going to go over to Canvas. And this is where we're going to create. So in the middle here, I see my mat. It's a 12 by 12 mat. So this is the place where I can create. There are a couple things here that say Pro, so let's talk about that first. If I click on Unlock Pro, this is going to tell me what Pro offers. So Loklik Idea Studio is free. You can absolutely use it for free. But if you want some AI capabilities, if you want the pen to draw freely, and if you want more shapes and images to use, there is a monthly fee. Right now, I am just using the free software, and I have been really happy with it. The other things we see up on top here, we're in the library, and that is going to show us all kinds of different images. We're going to come back to that in a minute. And then we have My Zone up here. So if you have previous projects, they're going to show up here. You can also favorite images and projects. We also have your account up here on the right. And if we click on that, we can get down to settings. You're able to set inches or millimeters here, depending on how you want to use your mat. So that's kind of the top part up here. Let's go down the left-hand side and see what this does. So pattern is actually going to be your basic shapes. So I'm going to draw a circle. I just click on the circle and I can draw it to be any size I want. And once I have a circle on the page, I have a bunch of different options that are opened up on top here. So we have a new project, which would open a new canvas. We have the save button. We can select everything. We'll come back to this page setup in a minute. Fill, if I go to contour, it's just going to show me the outside edge. This doesn't really affect your cutting. It's just a way to view it. So I'm going to leave it like this for now. Offset is going to trace and create an offset of my image. So if I click on this, I can bring up my offset, and if I hit apply, I get an extra piece around the outside, and I can click on that extra piece, and now I have 2 of them. One is just slightly bigger than the last one. So I'm going to delete that. I also have array, so if I make this smaller and click on array, I can make a whole bunch of the same thing, and I can adjust their spacing, all kinds of different things. You can also do circular arrays too. But we don't need that many circles. Next up, we have flip. Doesn't really work too well with a circle, but if you need to flip your item, you can. If I have a number of different items to arrange, I can bring them forward or backward. And this combine button we're going to use here. And then over here we have the sizing of our item that we just made. There is a scrolling bar, so scroll all the way over so you get all of the different options. Position here is just where this is on the mat, and then rotate would be rotating it. So I want to change my circle to about a 4-inch circle. Right now it's not an exact circle, but it is locked. So if I put 4 in width, the height is going to change appropriately. If I unlock it, I can change them each individually, and then I'm going to lock it again. So now I have a 4-inch circle. I'm just going to copy and paste that. Now I have 2 of them. So let's make a cake topper with this. So we're going to go down and use the next button that's available to us, which is text. And I'm going to put the number 7 here. Now, when I have text, I have more options that are brought up here. We have an alignment button, a spacing for lines, letter spacing, font size, and then we have fonts. There's quite a few fonts available with Loklik. Now, if I click on one of these, it's not going to change my font right away. I need to download it, and then I can go ahead and use it. So there's a bunch of really good stuff that's in here. You can also use system fonts, which is anything that is available on your computer. So these are all the fonts that I have on my computer, and I am able to use them here. But we're going to stick with a Loklik font for now. So what I want to do here is I want to cut this number 7 out of the top circle and then layer this one over the one on the right. So this would be a place where I could arrange things. I could send that to the back, or I could bring it forward. We want to leave it in front for now. And I have to kind of eyeball where I want this here. Now I'm going to select both the 7 and the circle and come up to the combine button. I want that 7 to be cut out of the circle, so I'm going to choose subtract at overlap. And now I have something that's cut out. So I'm going to cut this out of green cardstock, cut this back one out of a patterned cardstock, and we can layer these two together. So now let's make this. I need to select everything that I want to cut, and then I can go to Make and connect my machine. You can connect via USB or Bluetooth. On the mat, I have placed a piece of green cardstock on the left and the pattern cardstock on the right. And on this screen, I am able to just move these items around. If I wanted to cut them out of 2 different mats, what I would have done is just selected the number 7 first, ran that task, and then come back, put a new piece of paper on the mat, and then selected this one. But in this case, I can actually do this both at the same time. So over on the right, I want to cut them. It's a standard cut. It's on the cutting mat. It's 12 by 12. These are both the same cut settings because they're both cardstock. So we're going to select the group here. Again, if this was 2 different types of materials, I could just select the group that I want to cut. Now I'm going to select the material. And we're going to call this just regular cardstock here. It will automatically adjust the settings for me. And so far I have been able to cut very successfully just using these standard settings, but you are able to easily adjust these here. Everything looks good. I can add to task. So I'm going to go over to the machine and load that mat into the machine. And then hit start. So the task is complete. It shows in here that it's complete, and I unloaded the mat from the machine. Now I can just minimize this and cancel over here and go back to working on my mat. So let's say that I wanted to cut this separately. So I don't want to do these on the same mat. I'm going to select the number 7 first and go to Make It. Follow those same steps again. And then add it to the task. This one here that we just did is done, so I'm going to get rid of that one. Now I can minimize this again, cancel this, click on the second circle that I'm going to do. It's going to be on a separate mat, but in that same place. And now I have 2 tasks here. So if I wanted to cut that number 7 first, I would hit start, load the mat, cut it out, then put a new piece of cardstock on the mat, come back and start this task. So you're able to line everything up, get it all ready to go, and you can switch between materials here. And then just hit start when you're ready to go. So we've cleared the mat here, and now let's talk about the next option here, which is upload. So I want to bring in my own design here and cut it out of HTV. I really like getting designs from Creative Fabrica. I highly recommend doing that if you want to get all kinds of designs that you can use to cut and draw with. This design is an SVG, and so it brought me right to the screen here, and I'm going to be able to cut this out nicely. So I have the same options up on top here. We're going to go back and talk about this page setup for a second because we didn't do that earlier. This allows me to select the machine. There was a previous version of the Loklik. It's called the Crafter. I don't have that, so I always want to make sure I'm set on iCraft. And then I can set the standard mat size. So if I wanted to use a larger mat, or I was going to use a larger one, I can select that here and it'll change what my canvas looks like. There is also some print then cut settings here, which we're going to do in another video when we talk about stickers. So I want to make this about 5 inches wide. And we're going to cut this out of HTV. I'm going to place the HTV on my mat upside down because we always want to cut from the back. And I'm using a little makeshift brayer to push this on. You can use your fingers, but I really like a brayer. This is actually from Dollar Tree in the beauty section. It's a face roller. $1.25. It's a great investment for your machine. There is a reminder on here on how to place the HTV on your mat, just in case, and we always want to mirror it. So you just click this little button on the back, and it's going to turn my image around. So you don't need to do that ahead of time. You can do that right here. And now we're going to add it to task and let this cut out. Once your HTV is cut, you're going to use the weeding tool that comes with your machine and pull out all the negative spaces that you don't want to iron onto the fabric. I find this works really well if you just leave it attached to the mat for now. Keeps everything stuck together. It allows you to weed really easily. Now we can take this and press it onto any kind of fabric. Now we're back here at the canvas. We've got everything else cleared. And let's do one more project. This time we're going to make a card. So I'm going to start with a shape. And I'm going to manually change the size. And this is going to be cut. And up here where it says fill, we're going to go to contour just so I can see a little bit better. Now we're going to go to the library and find a design. So in the library, I can choose from some of their featured designs, or I can go and pick one of their suggested categories. But I want to look at all images. So I'm going to select all images up here, and down along the side, I'm going to come to draw. So these are the draw images that come with the free software. We're just going to pick one of them here and add it to the canvas. And I can either go to the design or click canvas up here, and it takes me right back where I was. So I want the Hello Summer to be on the right side here. Now I want to select everything and click Make. So this is how my card is going to look. I want to move it so it sits on the mat a little bit better. And first I'm going to select Draw. And we're only drawing the black part, the Hello Summer. So I'm just going to select the black part, Everything else is set up for me. So I'm going to add that to the task. Now I can minimize this, come back, click Cut up on top, and select the gray part because we're going to cut out the box. I can tell the machine what kind of material we're using here. And I can add that to the task. Now I want to do the drawing first and then do the cutting. In my machine, I've added a piece of cardstock to the mat. And now I need to switch out the blade for the pen. There's this little extra piece. This is kind of a housing that can hold the pen and other tools. We twist it open, pop the pen in, and close it back up, and then put this in the tool holder in the machine. Now that the drawing is done, I do not want to unload the material. I just want to start the next task. I switch out the pen for the blade, and now I can hit start. Now that we're all done, I can go ahead and cancel these tasks, minimize this, come out of here, and start over with a new project. If I want to save this for next time, I can easily just click the Save button up on top here. And if I wanted to keep this open and work on another project, I can click this little plus button right here, open up another canvas, and work on this while this is still sitting over here. So we made 3 pretty easy projects using a lot of different functions in the Idea Studio software. I hope it helped you get an idea of what that software can do and how you can get started crafting right away as soon as you get your machine. I find this software is pretty easy to use. It is really straightforward. After making just a couple projects, I was very capable of making and using all of their functions. I find that the library is a little bit limited. There is not a ton of stuff in there that I want to use, but I can use the pattern function, so those basic shapes and the text, and then I can import my own designs, whether it's something that I'm creating or something I download from Creative Fabrica. I do have more videos on the Loklik iCraft. You can take a look at the playlist down in the description. I am working on a sticker video right now because you can make stickers with this machine. I'll have that in the description as soon as it's ready. This machine is budget friendly. It does everything you want a smart cutting machine to do. Pretty easy to use. I highly recommend it if you want to get started with cutting paper and vinyl and HTV. I've got a link to shop down in the description along with the most recent deals that are going on right now. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, consider subscribing. I am here every week with new videos to help you move forward in your creative journey. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.